Hello, today is Thursday, October 22nd, and today we are going to be graphing our data about the two helicopters that we tested. And we're going to use a online program that's going to make the graph for you so that we can make sure that we have a graph that truly talks to you. All right, first off, reminder, if you need to know a quick glimpse of what we did today in class and the homework, you can click on the announcements. And then we're going to go down to This Week in Science and scroll down to Thursday right here in the yellow. And before we move into the lesson, I wanted to make sure that you all remember to make sure you have your pipettes for tomorrow, because tomorrow we're going to be doing our drops on a penny. So you're going to need a pipette, you're going to need a penny, and some water. So make sure that you bring those to class or have a space to have those available, because we're going to be using that in our assignment tomorrow. If you do not have your pipette, you lost it. You need to get a new one. We have a whole bunch of extras at the school, so if you can get down to the school, awesome. If not, if you have some sort of an eyedropper, you can make that work as well. But we want to have something that can get little tiny drops dripping down onto a penny. Okay. All right. Next. Go ahead and we're going to open two screens today. So we're going to use our two-finger click, and we're going to two-finger click the helicopter investigation and open that up. And then I want you to go down here to this website that says Math is Fun, because this is what we're going to use for our graphs. So we're going to two-finger click, and we're going to open that into a new link. Okay. All right. Then we're going to go to our helicopter investigation. And today we are going to be completing slides 4 and 5. And when you're finished with slide 5, you're going to come back here and make sure that you click the submit button that should be showing right here on the side next to where the blue investigation words are. And it's the big blue submit button. There's a reminder in the announcement and on our This Week in Science page. So go ahead and click on your helicopter page, make it big. And we're going to go straight to slide 4. And we collected our data. So we collected our data, we found the sums of each of our types of data, each of our independent variables here, and then we found the averages. And the averages are what we're going to be actually making the graph of today. So let's go ahead and highlight those 3 boxes. And then I'd like you to go over here and press the fill color. It looks like a little paint can. And I'm going to go ahead and use sort of a creamy yellow color so that I remember this is what we're going to be graphing today, this 3.1 and 2.4. 3.1 for the printer paper, which was the thin, and the 2.4 seconds for the cardstock, which was the thick. Okay. All right. Then we're going to scroll down here, and I'm going to show you very quickly how we have the elements of talks showing up here, and then we're going to move it into actually graphing the data using the program. So we have our title, that's our T for talks. And you'll notice that the title says the effect of the independent variable on the dependent variable. So in this case, we would have the effect of the paper thickness on the drop time. We're then going to be putting at the bottom on our x-axis the independent variable, which is the thickness, and then the drop time in seconds will be going here. Now, the program that I have is going to do this all for you. So what I would like you to do is go ahead and click on the elements of this graph, and we're just going to do a quick delete. So we're just going to delete all the parts of this graph, because we're going to make one that we're going to copy and paste into this space here. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and click on the data graph bar graph program. And you're going to want to make sure that it says bar graph. You can see that we can make all kinds of different graphs with this program, but we're going to work with the bar graph. And let's go ahead and put in our title, T for title, and that was the effect of the independent variable, which was paper thickness on the dependent variable, which was drop time. Okay. And what I love about this program is as you add things to your graph information, it shows up in the graph in live time. So you can see it building the graph for you, which is pretty cool. All right. So then the A of talks was axes. So on the x-axis, we had the independent variable, and the independent variable was the thing that we were changing. So that's paper thickness. And if you scroll down, you'll see that it shows up there at the bottom, which is awesome. And then the dependent variable was on the side, and that is the drop time. And then we need to add a couple of labels for the L, and we need to remember to add the unit of measurement, which we measured it in seconds. So we're going to put seconds in parentheses, and you'll see that that's showing up on the side there. And then we're going to skip down to the labels. And there were two versions of our independent variable. We did a thick paper and we did a thin paper. So we're going to go ahead and write thin first because that was the one that we did first. And then we're going to write, and then we're going to put a comma between it. And then we're going to write thick. Okay. The reason that we have the comma is that it tells them that there are two separate entities. So every time that you want to have a new topic or a new category, you need to put a little comma next to it. All right. Then the values. Now, because we did the thin one first, we need to put the value of the thin average there. So we're going to go back and click on our investigation, and we're going to look at our data chart. We're going to see which one the thin one was. So that was at the top here. That was the first average. So we're going to put 3.1 first, because the thin was first down in our labels. So that's going to be what we put there. Then we're going to put a comma because that's going to tell them that it's time to go to the next one. Okay. The next category, we're going to go back here. We're going to go look at cardstock, and there's 2.4 was the average there, 2.4 seconds. So we're going to put 2.4 seconds. All right, we have our graph. It is now made. Let's see if it talks to us. We have a title that tells the independent variable. We have the axes labeled with the independent variable on the bottom and the dependent variable on the side. We have labels that tell us the units of measurement and also the different categories of independent variable. K, we don't need a key because it already is marked here. If we didn't have these little labels here, we would need a key, but we don't. And S is a scale. Oh, let's see. Does the scale there? Yep. And it's all set up. So 0.5, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5. So it's going up by even intervals and evenly spaced. Perfect. Okay. Now we're going to do our 2-finger click. And we're going to copy the image. And then we're going to go back to our program. And we're going to go down here and we're going to do a 2-finger click. And we're going to press paste. And then you have your graph. Now you can resize it so that it's big enough for everybody to see. Awesome. And now we can see our graph. All right. If you don't like this extra space at the bottom, you can also double click on it and then you can crop it by pressing up, and then it just makes it sort of cropped there, and then you can make it bigger. All right. So now we have our graph. Awesome. We are now going to move on to step 4 of our inquiry process, which is on slide 5. Okay, so now that we've graphed the data, we are going to analyze what our graph shows. So we're going to start out with what is the graph about? And you are going to finish the sentence frame. This graph shows the relationship between, and then and what was our IV and the DV. So you're not typing IV and DV, you're actually writing in what our IV and our DV was. So our independent variable, and you can put that in green, was the thickness of paper, and the DV was the drop time, right? So that's what the graph shows. It's basically you're rewriting the name of the title. All right, what patterns did you see? My data shows that as we increase the thickness of the paper, then, so let's look at our data, and you would put in the words increase, decrease. What did you notice? So did it increase? Did it decrease? So when we go from thin to thick, or did it stay the same? So this is going to be the then the, and you're going to put in what the DV is. Oops, and I'm going to go ahead and highlight this because I really like my highlighting. So there's my independent variable, and you put in the dependent variable, which was the drop time. And then you're going to tell me whether it increased, decreased, or if you stayed the same or did not change. And then I want you to add a little piece about what you saw. I know this because, and then tell me what you saw in the graph that told you that it increased, decreased, or stayed the same. So the question is, what did you see in the graph? Okay. All right. You are now completed with the assignment. If you finish this page here, then you are ready to go back to your helicopter investigation, press submit, and then your homework for tonight is to either finish this analysis if you haven't done that yet, or to finish the Wednesday assignment, which was this reading data charts and graphs if you didn't get that done. If not, you really have no homework for tonight. So first, make sure that slides 4 and 5 are finished and submitted. And then second, make sure that you did the assignment from yesterday. And then if you're done with both of those 2 items, then you have no more homework. All right, have a good day.